There's an Easter egg in Marusa no Onna that I worked really hard to show off. I've got a recording of about 2 hours of game footage here. Then my cat jumped on my Famicom's reset button. So I'm not going to be able to show off how they replaced Super Mario Bros. With Sweet Hole, a Capcom game that was in development at the same time. Marusa no Onna started out as a comedy film. It was the big Japanese movie of 1987. The plot is about a tax inspector using clever tricks to find tax cheats. It's a good movie, and it has a scene where she plays Super Mario Bros. With someone. You can watch it on the Criterion channel right now. Capcom took that framework and decided to turn it into an adventure game. Supposedly, development of the game Marusa no Onna was supervised by the director of the film Marusa no Onna. Though I think we all know that just means he may have glanced at some screens a couple of times. The story pretty much follows the plot of the movie, too. Most of the game winds up working in a loop. You go to a location to investigate some tax fraud on this isometric map like you're playing a European game. Then you interview people and look around at all their stuff. You're not allowed to leave these locations until you've done everything there. Then you return to your office to tell your boss what's going on, talk to your coworker, check your computer for the next location to go to, and then repeat. Every time you take any step, you wind up having to go back to that office and talk to your boss. He gives you a password when you cross those story milestones, too. The interface should be very familiar at this point. Pick a verb from a list, though they've added a weird submenu for more rarely used commands. When you're interrogating somebody, sometimes you have topics to discuss, and sometimes you have attitudes that you'll take. So you could threaten or try to flatter somebody. I found walking around the map to be pretty annoying. It rotates the controls 45 degrees for these screens, so hitting left will make you go up and left, for example. It's pretty trivial to power your way through Marusa no Onna. This is one of those games where you'll go to a location and then you won't be allowed to do anything until you hit the next trigger. You can just power your way through the menus if it really comes down to it. That said, there is a lot of story here. I played for 2 hours, and I probably had about another hour, maybe an hour and a half left in the game. Japanese players are not fond of Marusa no Onna. The game was a more serious affair than the comedy film. Also, it revolves around financial crime, and your main target runs some brothels. So it was not the most child-friendly of games. Even Japanese players found the terms used unfamiliar. And I can't say I'm really impressed with the game myself. This is another one of those adventure games where you have to do the same action over and over again, getting different results. And there's this thing where locations have multiple screens, and you don't go to the next screen, you look and then move the camera over. Naturally, you can only interact with some people on certain screens, so that might slow you down a little bit. I also wasn't super thrilled with the game visually. There's some decent design here, but there isn't much going on beyond the character design itself. Maybe if characters had more than one expression it would help. Marusa no Onna is technically a mystery adventure game, but it doesn't feel like one. Probably because you spend so much time running back and forth to the office. It's tough for me to judge this kind of game, but I feel like this one's on the weaker side. At least Capcom didn't make a second game based on the film's sequel.